This podcast includes graphic depictions of true crime cases and may contain explicit language. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of We Saw the Devil. This is Robin.
This is Jackie.
And off the bat, guys, I would like to apologize for a couple things. One, the creature that you hear screeching in the background is my umbrella cockatoo, Haku. And due to quarantine, can't really leave the house to record or do anything. So kind of have to make do. I promise it will not last very long. I turned off his TV, so he's just kind of starting to chill out right now. Number two, I have a 102-degree fever and I don't feel the best. So I know I have vocal fry. I'm working on it. I'm trying my hardest, but it may be a little extra this episode. So for that, I apologize, but I'm literally doing this because of the news dump this week and we don't want to miss an episode. So with that being said, we are officially 21 days, 7 hours, 3 minutes, and 49 seconds from the end of the world.
Eventful month, I have to say.
Yeah.
Huge.
What are you guys going to do for your remaining 21 days on this earth?
I definitely hope it doesn't require wearing a lot of face masks. They're kind of claustrophobic, not gonna lie.
Yeah, or clothes for that matter. Like, I'm just gonna sit here in my PJs and wait for the world to end.
Don't diet. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just eat everything and enjoy your life.
Don't hold yourselves back, guys.
Who cares about underwear?
Right?
Optional.
Who cares about anything? So yeah, it has been an eventful week. Woke up yesterday morning. We had the new search warrant that was executed on Chad's house. Upgraded charges for Lori came in the news last night. And then today, Lori's court appearance. And then, to top it all off, my favorite personal piece is the drama surrounding Melanie and Brandon's custody filing. Because there's some insane stuff going on with that.
Oh, yeah.
So before we get into all that, if you haven't seen, we put out an episode yesterday. HBO was kind enough to send us the screener for I'll Be Gone in the Dark, the new docuseries based on Michelle McNamara's book of the same name. We cannot speak highly enough about it. So we did a review for the first 3 episodes, and today HBO reached back out and offered us the rest of the screeners a week before they air. Be looking forward to more reviews and discussions of East Area Rapist, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and the series coming.
I'm actually really excited about that. And you know what? I have to say that it's been a long time and it's been really refreshing to be able to do a review because that's what this podcast was originally about. So even if you're not interested in East Area Rapist or even the show or the book, you should just listen to us talk about it anyway, because I would think you should always listen to us.
Right?
We're awesome.
So if you haven't, just for those who are here for the Lori Vallow episode who aren't aware, the East Area Rapist was a criminal. He operated between the 70s and 80s, actually into the 90s with creepy phone calls. But he raped over 50 women. He burglarized hundreds of houses and committed at least 10 murders. He was horrifying, guys. If you think the Lori Vallow situation is crazy, which it is in its own, separate way, the East Area Rapist is terrifying. He was just arrested in 2018, and basically, long story short, he wasn't cooperating. He was up for the death penalty, and he's now in his 70s. And he basically made a deal and said, okay, look, I'll confess if you take the death penalty off the table. So yesterday, he actually had a hearing where he admitted to the various crimes. And one of the most amazing moments in true crime I've ever seen in my entire life, they had it in a university ballroom because so many people have been impacted by this monster. Thousands of people came or were outside listening to him speak, and a lot of victims. After he admitted to all of this stuff, he was being wheeled out in a wheelchair. He's playing a really good, old, decrepit man.
He looks like a worm.
He does.
He looks like a really old, liver-spotted worm.
Yeah. He's terrible. But it's all a guise. But as he was being wheeled out, one of the victims came over to as he was being wheeled out and said, "Rotten hell." And it was just so impactful. And she turned around and put her arms up in the air. And, that's 40 years waiting for justice. So if you haven't checked out the story, our episodes, we have a couple preludes to the East Area Rapist. We're going to continue our East Area Rapist series. Check that out, but pick up a copy of Michelle McNamara's book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark. HBO basically created a docuseries documenting her experience with that, like her hunt.
She's a little bit of all of us, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If you like true crime, she is in you in a way that she just obsesses about a case or is interested. And I have to say about East Area Rapist is that he was a monster that was untethered. And that is the hardest thing. I mean, most people have heard of Son of Sam. I mean, we have a similar situation, but except there was no profile for the people that he was victimizing. And that's even more terrifying. Mm-hmm. So please check it out if you haven't.
Absolutely. Beyond that, if you are enjoying the show, as always, please consider supporting us on Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, that's less than a cup of coffee. You can support the show, have access to our private Facebook group, our web sleuthing of the Lori Vallow stuff. We actually discuss and find things that we can't even discuss on air.
That's true.
We have sources, from either family members or friends or whatever, and we discuss these things in our group. We offer merch, stickers, and then a postcard from our case of the month. So we pick a case each month in a certain city, and then we send you guys handwritten postcards from that city.
Because we love you.
We do. So please consider supporting the show on Patreon. So I think we've gotten a lot of stuff out of the way there.
Yes.
Lori Vallow time. As it was stated, yesterday, Monday, June 29th, there was another search warrant executed on Chad's property. And the interesting part about this one is that they were in and out in under 2 hours.
Kind of unheard of.
So what that means is that they were looking for something very specific. They came in knowing exactly what they were looking for. Per Court TV, which, Court TV is a very valid source, but they have had wrong leads before.
Yes, they absolutely have.
And anyone that, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, anyone that would employ Nancy Grace for any length of time is a little suspect in my book.
If you are listening to Nancy Grace and you think everything she says is correct, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, please reevaluate. But per Court TV, law enforcement was looking for very specific items. Per Court TV, that it was a white plastic bag, a black bag, and duct tape. Those are the 3 items that Court TV says that the law enforcement was looking for. If you recall, JJ's body was found wrapped in a black trash bag and a white trash bag, also duct tape.
So they're definitely making that connection right there.
I'm going to assume if that lead per Court TV is correct. Officers went into the home. They went into and around the exterior buildings on the property, and they were also seen in the backyard with cameras, and they left with a few brown evidence bags. At this point, we don't know if it was tied to Lori Daybell's new charges, Chad's, or just the children in general. All we know is that they were there looking for something specific.
It's weird that they allowed Emma and her husband to even live in that home before they secured the scene.
It is. And what I don't understand is, so Emma and Joseph, everyone knows Emma. Emma was the daughter who was making weird, funny faces, sticking out her tongue. Her husband, Joseph, so Chad's son-in-law, they've been very defensive and supportive of Chad. They were living in a rental home across the street. Well, they just moved into this home. They just moved back into Chad's home. My understanding is that Chad signed the home over to them.
Because that's not sick.
Who would want to live there? So it's all over social media and in every group and online. Joseph, Chad's son-in-law, Emma's husband, posted after the kids were found. He had a Facebook post, basically of compost, a picture of compost, saying needs to be gone today, free. Just come pick it up.
Yeah, I saw that. Isn't that bizarre?
It's so bizarre, and for some reason, people are freaking out over it, and I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that they lived there for a while. They were leaving their rental home and had to close. Their lease was ending, so they had to do a yard cleanup. That's not outside the realm of possibility. Is it tone deaf and does it look really bad? Yeah. A little bit.
I mean, we're also talking about Emma, right? Emma is completely inappropriate.
Yeah, and I can't believe that she's a teacher.
She should be fired.
I truly believe that she does not deserve to work with children, period.
I don't think, I think that it should be, she represents the school district that she's in. Teacher's been fired for less.
For far less. And, if you guys recall in the beginning of this case, Emma's Reddit account, someone pulled up and found Emma's Reddit account where she actually was looking for help. My mom died suspiciously. I'm devastated. I don't understand. And my dad seemed to have moved on really fast and married a woman, and I don't understand it. She seemed so sad, upset, and just wanting emotional support. And so how did we go from that to her acting like a maniac on live news?
I don't know. She just looks unstable.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would be doing that. Especially in her position with her working with children. I'm sorry, you're doing what?
Mm-hmm.
Even one of the news reporters for East Idaho News was like, well, she's really inappropriate considering.
Right.
And she's in the background in the car flipping her tongue around. And she looked like she was possessed. Maybe she has an unclaimed spirit.
Unclean spirit?
Yes. Not quite Ned Snyder, but a different type.
Maybe Ned Snyder's little brother. I don't know. But she's quirky. So interesting enough, though, is I wonder what will happen to that house. Because if Chad is charged with murder eventually, and he has a private attorney, he's going to need funds. Also, if he killed Tammy, all of that life insurance policy, that's going to be fraud.
Ooh.
And they're going to take his assets. They will take his home. So, guys, there are so many things. If you think this is the end of this case, or this case is coming to a close, we are looking at years here. We have Social Security probably getting involved. We have, the life insurance, the insurance companies with fraud. It's going to be a nightmare. Anyway, back to the search of Chad Daybell's property. As everyone knows, additional toxicology tests were ordered for the kids. And Tammy's took a long time on its own. Alex, as everyone remembers, came back as natural causes. But then he was sent off for additional testing. I wonder if they've now finally linked a substance in the autopsies, and they were there looking for potential substances.
I wish we had more of a way of knowing.
I know.
It's so hard sitting around waiting for the answers to stuff like that, because it's such crucial pieces of evidence that lead on to an entire different story about what happened to the kids, what happened to Alex. Because my personal belief deep inside is that they killed Alex.
Yeah, I believe that Zulema was brought into the case. Again, this speculation, guys. I believe that Zulema was married to Alex with the express intention of killing him.
Also, last night, they upgraded Lori's charges.
Yes. That's why she appeared in court today as well. So Lori now has 2 counts of conspiracy to conceal, alter, or destroy evidence. And then she had their court appearance today. So those charges came hours after police executed a search warrant at Chad's house. If you recall, Chad was charged with concealment of evidence rather than conspiracy. So Chad's charges are likely going to be updated today as well, Tuesday the 30th. Because Lori has been charged with conspiracy. Let's define what conspiracy means, okay? Because the charges are a little confusing. Conspiracy means that 2 or more people agreed to commit a crime, and one of the conspirators took a substantial step towards carrying out that conspiracy. It ties the people together, the actors together. And if you watch today's court appearance with Lori, this will make today's court appearance make more sense. Action is not actually required from the conspirators. So in this situation, let's say it's Lori, Chad, and Alex, as everyone speculates, okay? Let's say that the 3 of them discuss murdering the kids and burying their bodies. Let's say that Alex actually killed the children. Boom. Conspiracy. All of them are charged. All it takes is for conspirators to discuss or talk about something, and then one actor, as they call it, takes the step to do it. They're all charged in a conspiracy. So what does that mean for this case? Lori today was upgraded to conspiracy charges. Previously, Chad has only been charged with concealment, destruction, and alteration. Mark my words, he will be receiving upgraded charges either today or tomorrow. Chad's charges will be upgraded to conspiracy.
I'll be really surprised if they don't upgrade his charges to conspiracy. That'd be very odd, and that would mean that the case is going in an entirely different direction.
Yes. So it's pretty much a given because today at Lori's court appearance, the judge asked Mark Means, Lori's attorney, if he had ever represented any other co-conspirators. He said he has not. And there's some drama there we'll get to. But Chad and Lori are now officially, more or less, co-conspirators. Look for more information. And here's the thing, guys. Like I said, there are going to be a lot more charges coming, okay? So we're starting, what the prosecution and law enforcement's doing is they're starting from the ground up. And this is how so many criminal cases, this is the right way to approach this. And I know a lot of you have emailed us and messaged and tweeted and put on Instagram. Why are there no murder charges?
Yeah, well, like, when is that going to happen? Everyone wants to know.
The prosecution's job, you can only charge, and I've had multiple attorneys tell me this, you can only charge for what you can prove. That's basically kind of the name of the game. So as it stands right now, and we don't know what the FBI has, what law enforcement has, the prosecution, we don't know what kind of records or evidence they have. As they can nail down these things, these charges, they will come out. So what we know right now is that Alex's phone pinged, right, from Lori's apartment to Chad's property. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, considering when you line that up with when the dates the kids went missing and were last seen, that Alex was involved as a co-conspirator. Can anyone tell us right now if Alex killed them?
Probably not.
No, nobody can. When law enforcement has some sort of evidence that Chad or Lori murdered the children themselves, new charges will happen. We have to put our faith in our justice system and the way the court system operates. It may be slow. As people say, the wheels of justice turn slowly at times. But wouldn't you prefer that they get this right and get all of the information and create an airtight case? You can't just say, they murdered them, with no evidence. That would not fly. Would you rather have an airtight case against Chad and Lori and have them life in prison or even potentially the death penalty?
Here's the thing about justice, right? Is that it's slow and painful, but I'd rather them get tried for the right things because you can miss stuff. They need to take every single angle possible in this case to be double sure that what they have is the truth.
And so I know everyone is so antsy and waiting for the day that there will be murder charges. And here's the thing. We don't know certain pieces of information. Like, where was Lori's cell phone pinging at the time of, Alex? All we've seen so far is Alex's. So what that's telling me is that the prosecution had enough evidence to link Alex to Chad, right? Alex went to Chad's property.
Yeah.
And between that and the text message to Tammy about the raccoon, boom, conspiracy. We also have Lori now being upgraded to conspiracy.
Here's what I'm wondering. With all this new pressure added to Lori while she's in jail, I wonder if they're going to have a jailhouse informant try and pull information out of her too.
That's a good question. And we've seen so many different people anonymously try to say, well, I have a friend or relative that works in the prison system, and they said Lori trashed her cell and was crying and upset. And then you have other people say that she was calm, cool, and collected. So we don't know. Do you think Lori would talk?
Do I think if she would talk? I don't know. Here's the thing about her is that she seems to be pretty composed on covering her wrongdoings. I mean, she did pass a psychological evaluation when she obviously shouldn't be.
Right.
That's my honest opinion. That's not even an opinion. I'm sorry. Anybody who believes what she believes in and follows Chad's ideals and that kind of ideology isn't sane. You're not sane. Nobody who subscribes to that kind of thought behavior is sane. Mm-hmm. You have something wrong with you. So there's a flaw there, right?
Big time.
Yeah, so she has enough conscious ability to know what she's saying and how it impacts everything. That's what that tells me. So that's a problem when it comes to somebody like her. She's smart enough to get away with it.
She is. She's very self-aware. There are some psychopaths, sociopaths, or whatever that leave breadcrumbs and don't know how to play the system as well. Mm-hmm. It seems like Lori's had a lifetime of tuning in her ability to play people and manipulate.
Yeah, a lot of people say she's kind of like a recruiter in a way.
Yeah.
And that she has this magnetic personality. Mm-hmm. And that she could literally recruit you in. And you know what? I think that's probably true. Like,
Yeah.
my own personal opinion and speculation is probably is true. And people like her are more dangerous than the latter.
No, big time.
They get away with it. That's the problem with that kind of personality. A lot of time they do get away with a lot of stuff.
No, that's absolutely true. So Lori appeared in court today and she, was read her 2 additional charges. And her charges, 2 counts that were alleged in the criminal complaint. So the first, allegation of charge of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. And that's punishable by 5 years in prison or a $10,000 fine.
Or both.
Or both. 5 years in prison.
No, that's just a drop in the hat, people.
Yeah.
So they knocked her with what, 2 counts, right?
2 counts. So the first count was for JJ. And it reads, I'm summarizing here. The full complaint is online. You can go to Justin Lum or East Idaho News if you want to read the whole thing. Defendants Chad and Lori, and possibly any other person, from this 22nd of September to the 9th of June in Fremont County, did agree to commit to the destruction, alteration, or concealment with intent to keep it from being produced or discovered. That's basically in reference to JJ and his remains.
So sad.
And then he also described the overt acts. And then the judge went through the, quote, overt acts. I remember a moment ago I said that one of the conspirators had to be an actor. He then goes on to discuss how November 26th, Chad misrepresented the nature of his relationship with Lori. He also called Melanie Gibb and lied and said, hey, just so you know, JJ is, with you. Also, Lori Vallow provided a false location for JJ to police. And then Lori, remember, also called Melanie Gibb to request or encourage non-cooperation. On November 6th, Lori Vallow also called to request that she produce false evidence of JJ Vallow. Remember when she asked Melanie Gibb to take a picture of random kids in the theater? Mm-hmm. That's that. And then between January 30th and June 9th, Lori Vallow refused or failed to comply with a court order to produce JJ Vallow. So the court laid it out and said, hey, we know that you conspired, at least with Chad Daybell, and JJ ended up dead in his yard, is basically where we're at currently.
Yeah. And we had a watch party going and watching her hearing. Mm-hmm. And the judge re-illustrated all of that when he was laying out her charges and be like, do you understand that's what this is, like, why we're giving you these charges?
Mm-hmm. She got the second count, obviously, in regards to Tylee, and the overt act in this one is September 9th. Chad sent a text message to another person for the purpose of disguising the remains of Tylee on his property. I assume that was related to the text message he sent Tammy. November 26th, Lori also, again, provided false information to law enforcement and said that Tylee went to BYU, Idaho, which she did not. And then lastly, between January 30th and June 9th, just like JJ, Lori Vallow refused to fail or comply with a court order to produce Tylee Ryan to Rexburg Police Department or Department of Child Welfare.
Meanwhile, while the judge is saying all that, you can see Colby, and he's crying. He's trying so hard not to cry. It's sad.
It's really sad. And let's talk about that. So did anyone else expect Colby and Kelsey to pop up on the screen when that Zoom call started?
I didn't. Because at the end of the day, did they need to be there?
Also, I believe they said the Woodcocks were present as well.
Oh, maybe they didn't have video on the Woodcocks.
Yeah, I don't think they had video on the Woodcocks, but if I recall correctly, it said the Woodcocks were also present.
Oh, I can't imagine the grief that they're experiencing. Like, I actually started crying almost when I saw Colby's reaction of grief when they start talking about Tylee. You can tell he loved his sister.
They loved each other so much and had such a close bond and talked all the time, and it was heartbreaking. And one thing that caught me is supposedly Lori started to tear up, or at least she pretended to be wiping away tears. And did anyone catch the look that Colby gave her? He was disgusted.
Oh, he has so much resentment and anger, and I would too. I would never forgive her for any of that. And you know what? He has every right to feel that way. And on top of it, here's the thing. I tried to watch it, and I was watching it on my phone, right? And so I couldn't really make out Lori's ugly face with the mask on. It's hard to catch people's expressions with the mask on. So I'm wondering how many of you actually, what were you able to observe about her?
She was dressed nicely. She was wearing a blue sweater. Her hair was braided by someone.
That sweater was nicely fitting, I'm not going to lie. And that hair was braided like she's a queen on Game of Thrones.
I know.
That's crazy.
Well, Cersei.
I'm waiting for the dragons to show up.
Right.
Zombie dragons, nonetheless.
So her penalties, now these 2 charges are punishable again by 5 years in prison or a $10,000 fine. And after the charges were read to her and Lori said that she understood them, the judge went through a series of basically tie-ups. These penalties can run concurrently or consecutively, meaning stacked or simultaneously. And she is eligible for a preliminary hearing, and both sides agreed to it. It should take no more than 2 days, and it was scheduled for August 10th and 11th. So mark your calendars. Lori's next preliminary hearing for this is going to be August 10th and 11th. Her bond was set at $1 million. The judge asked if Mark Means, Lori's attorney, if he had a problem with that. And Mark Means is like, I'll just reserve discussing that for another time. I think he realizes that, no.
Yeah.
And then the judge went through a series of information if her bail is posted. If you want to read more about that, you can certainly, rewatch the trial or the video. She's not getting out.
Well, we know she doesn't have enough money for that, and nobody would give her a bail bond.
And what's so interesting is that she's retaining Mark Means privately. She's still paying him. Now Chad has a private attorney. Where is their money going to come from? That's going to run out.
Oh, yeah. So who's she going to try and philander with? I mean, that's the ongoing thing, right?
It's said that in her custody battle, say when she and Charles Vallow were trying, having the custody battle against Joe Ryan for Tylee, that she made passes at attorneys and so on and so forth. So
didn't she do it to try and pay off the fees?
Pay off the fees, or maybe just, I don't even know. But she has been a master manipulator, it sounds like, for decades. The last piece, as far as Lori's appearance, that was interesting is the judge asked Mark Means, Lori's attorney, if he has ever represented another one of the co-conspirators. And Mark Means is like, I have not, Your Honor. So the state prosecutor, Rob Wood, immediately rejected that. And he was like, Mark Means did represent Chad Daybell at a, bond, but it wasn't a criminal matter. So now we have a question of conflict. And Judge Edens basically just asked both parties to submit the request to their issues to the court, and then the court will issue a ruling on that. So again, August 10th and 11th, put it in your calendars. And as we were recording, guys, Chad Daybell just had his charges upgraded. He now has 2 counts of conspiracy. So he now has 2 charges of destruction, alteration, blah, 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 as well as 2 conspiracy charges for the same.
So you must be Miss Cleo. You must be psychic. You have predicted the future of his charges?
Yep. So per Justin Lum of Fox News, it's also being reported on Court TV. If you want to log into the iCourt portal for the Idaho government and the courts, you can see it there. He has 2 new counts of conspiracy to commit concealment, destruction, or alteration of evidence. So it is finally happening.
Well, Mr. Potato Head is about to get big.
I love it when I'm talking about something and I'm like, yeah, this is going to happen. And then it does as we record.
It just inflates your ego. No one needs that.
I mean, this is not even ego. This is obviously going to happen.
This same person that listens to himself speak for hours while she edits. Okay?
Like, water is wet, the sky is blue. Chad Daybell was getting conspiracy charges.
And how about you?
Yeah. So let's talk about this insane custody battle update between Brandon Boudreaux and Melanie, now Pawlowski.
Oh my God, the drama is real.
It is so real. And I think that so many of us just can't stand Melanie and know that she's involved in this, but just don't know exactly how. So this side drama, and that's the thing about this Lori Vallow case, right, is that you have the missing kids. You have Melanie and Brandon's nasty custody battle. You have Alex Cox's death. You have Alex Cox killing Charles Vallow before he magically died. I mean, there are just so many arms to this. Just another one is Melanie Pawlowski and Brandon Boudreaux's custody case. So Justin Lum of Fox 10 Phoenix dropped the documents. Basically, it's another affidavit of Detective Ryan Pillar of the Gilbert Police Department. And as you know, since the beginning, Detective Pillar has been the one investigating the shooting of Brandon Boudreaux. So Brandon Boudreaux and his team just filed a few responses to Melanie Pawlowski's side. And he put down the hammer. So the document, the first 1 to 3 pages, I mean, again, for Justin Lum, is basically just Detective Pilar saying, I'm a detective with Gilbert Police. I've been investigating the shooting of Brandon Boudreaux. No charges have been filed. However, Melanie Pawlowski, and this is a direct quote, Melanie Pawlowski is a person of interest in the investigation related to the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux.
Whoa.
So, yeah, officially now, Detective Pilar has said that Melanie is a person of interest. Now her lawyer cannot come back and say, no, she's not.
No, she isn't. Wait.
She's not. And then he also ties this up and he says, at 2 points in October, I made contact with Melanie. On October 3rd, 2019, I initiated contact with Miss Pawlowski to inform her of the shooting at Mr. Boudreaux. On October 16th, Miss Pawlowski contacted me regarding her children. Mrs. Pawlowski did not contact me again after this date with respect to her children or request my assistance in locating her children. Now, this is in direct opposition to what Melanie has been playing in the media, what she's been playing on her own private Facebook account, which is now deleted. Oh, they're keeping my children from me. I tried to get my children. Oh, woe is me.
She cries wolf.
She is such a sack of filth. And it was so wonderful to see this pop up. Detective Pilar was like, bitch, no, you did none of that. So that was basically the first 3 pages is Pilar saying who I am, what I do, and this bitch is involved in some way. Okay, so on page 4 of the document, Detective Pilar says, and this is another direct quote, Rob H. Wood, Madison County prosecutor, who has been appointed as the special prosecutor to investigate Lori Vallow Daybell, has indicated to father that mother is a person of interest in other multiple felonious acts, including the missing children, both now confirmed deceased. Mother's media interviews throughout this litigation are filled with conflicting statements from one interview to the next.
Oh my God, you don't say.
Right? Just God. So he name dropped Rob Wood, who is going to be the prosecutor putting Lori Vallow probably in jail for the rest of her life. So he name drops Rob Wood and is like, even he says she's a person of interest. So continuing on, it says, on or about June 5th, Ian Pawlowski and Natalie Pawlowski appeared for a hearing on Natalie Pawlowski's petition for order of protection. So Natalie Pawlowski is Ian's ex-wife before Melanie. When Natalie got wind of all of this stuff, she's like, nope. And Natalie filed an order of protection due to domestic violence against Ian, basically saying that he should only have supervised parenting and contact with the children. Now, here's the kicker on that. Ian Pawlowski has never once tried to see his own children. Not once.
Why? That's weird.
This is what's so weird about this particular issue, like the entire custody dispute. We don't know. I mean, again, it could be a power play from Natalie, right?
Yeah.
Natalie got wind of the cult and Melanie Boudreaux and Chad and all that. And she's like, hell no, my kids. I'm not going to let them near that. So she could have filed the domestic violence charges against Ian to get the order of protection to ensure that any visits are supervised.
That's actually almost smart.
No, it's brilliant if that is the case. If she was actually abused via domestic violence, I'm so incredibly sorry, Natalie. You're literally our favorite of this entire debacle.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. Yeah.
Well wishes and what for you 100%.
And he hasn't tried to see them at all, even
Not
supervised?
Once. No, not supervised. He has not done anything to see his kids. Ian has not tried to see them at all.
I wonder if she has a wire, if he did.
I don't know. So is he trying to protect his own children? But we'll talk about Ian and, that in a moment. But yes, so Ian has not tried to see his children in any capacity. And Brandon Boudreaux's side points out that it was even deemed that Ian was a danger to his own biological children. Okay, and then here's where it gets really juicy, and it brings in our friend Melanie Gibb. So Melanie Gibb is going to be testifying on behalf of Brandon. I mean, I guess if she does she has so much blood on her hands at this point. At least she's doing something good. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know if we can call it that. But
yeah.
Hey.
Melanie Gibb is testifying that Melanie Pawlowski told her that 2 of her own children and Brandon are zombies.
God, that's terrifying.
So Yeah, isn't it though? Had this stuff not happened when it did, bless the Woodcocks, had the Woodcocks not been like rabid pit bulls calling for the, welfare check of these children, we could very well be looking at 4 dead kids.
Absolutely.
4 dead kids plus, God, who even knows what else? A dead Brandon? What other children could have potentially been impacted by this?
Here's the thing, right? We already have a wave of dead bodies. All right, so how many graves do you need before someone raises an eyebrow to be like, wait, that's not right?
Mm-hmm. And on page 2 of the additional, discussing Melanie Gibb, I'm just going to read this last paragraph because it is too freaking good not to. And now, father is Brandon and mother is Melanie Pawlowski, okay? Melanie Gibb has told father of the conversation she had with mother, wherein mother told Melanie Gibb that 2 of the party's children were zombies. Miss Gibb has also told father that mother revealed that father had gone from being dark to zombie and that he was part of Hitler's tight group of friends during Hitler's life. The belief of the members of the cult are that once a person becomes a zombie, the only way for their soul to be freed is for them to die.
First of all, that has to be the most insane thing that I've heard in all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, we could talk about Ned Snyder being Charles Vallow, right? Unclaimed spirits, possession, whatever, okay? We've all seen it done before in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
But have we ever seen anyone being close to Hitler in a past life?
Right? I don't think that was not on my bingo card.
No. I wouldn't have ever imagined. That is some creative wordcraft right there.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is happening?
No, I would also like to state that Melanie Gibb herself, so it's claimed, that Melanie Gibb said that zombies need to die to free their soul.
Oh boy.
That's according to Melanie Gibb. So again, Melanie Gibb, how did you not know that Tylee and JJ were in danger?
She's completely just...
She saw Charles get murdered. I mean, she obviously not saw, but, she knew of Charles.
Who knows? She could have been there. She'd been like, oh, what's that?
But she knew of Charles being designated a zombie and then ending up dead. And then suddenly Tylee and JJ were zombies and then they went missing. Like, come on.
I've never met or actually seen an interview of somebody look more stupid than her. I hate to say it. I'm sorry. But like, if you're a fan of Melanie Gibb, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. Maybe reevaluate.
Oceanfront property in Iowa. Like, I have to sell you. I don't know.
Yeah. And here's where my thought process goes with a lot of this is that, okay, so we have somebody who is just labeling people as zombies when it seems to be convenient. But it seems that the zombie label seems to go mostly to the children.
Yeah.
And...
Well, I mean, there are a lot of adults that are designated as zombies, but I think it's harder for them. I mean, just my own speculation. It's harder for them to kill an adult and get away with it than conceal a very small child.
Well, okay. So that makes sense. But here's what I don't get is how come if Chad praying in his closet near the portal is supposed to rid the world of zombies, then why isn't he praying the zombies away more? I absolutely read that he could pray the zombies away, and that was a big campaign of his.
Oh, yeah. And then, they would get reports on how many people died, like how many zombies died.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of weird game is this? Well, can you pray away the zombies or not? I want to know.
Chad, you're full of crap.
What? That's news to me. I thought he was factual. I thought it was real.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's just so bizarre,
It's all so incredibly bizarre, and their belief systems change. And, even according to Melanie Gibb, and I believe April Raymond has made the statement as well, that Lori said, the world's ending on this date. And then the date would come, and Chad would be like, oh, well, agency, it changed it all. And Lori would be like, yeah, things changed. So, like, I don't know. I'm just going to go on living life like July 22nd is the end of days. That was pretty much the news of this week. It's crazy. It's just so much stuff. There was a lull. And it seems like every day we had planned to record on Monday with, Chad's update. And I'm like, no, we're going to wait until tomorrow because mark my words, something's going to happen. And then late last night it came with the upgraded charges. And I bet we're going to hear Chad get upgraded charges here shortly too. But...
So- sometimes we just go in our closet and throw our feelers out into the portal, and then we strike gold of like we knew it.
Where do you think Chad's portal is? Is it almost like talking through the bowl?
I wonder if there's mothballs near it.
I don't know.
Is he worried about moths? Can moths go in the portal? Maybe he has some cedar in there or something.
There's going to be an ebb and flow of information in this case. We can't predict when things are going to drop as far as updated charges, new evidence, autopsies, things like that. So in the meantime, we have a plan. We are going to do the Lori Vallow chronological, almost like an intro to Lori Vallow episode.
There's a lot of you who are just now tuning into this. I mean, like, you know, maybe you saw it on national news and you're just kind of like, what is that?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
There are a lot of rabbit holes to go down on this case.
And it can be a little confusing. Honestly, it's very confusing. And not everyone wants to read court documents. All right, that's boring for a lot of people. But we love to do it, and we'd love to do it for you. So please join us with the recap. Even if you are familiar with the case, maybe you forgot something.
Mm-hmm. It's true. We will be having our Lori Vallow introduction episodes coming out soon, just to give the newbies kind of an easy outline, easy episodes to catch up on everything. And then throwing it out to the listeners, please, again, email us. You can email us at wesawthedevil@gmail.com. What do you want us to do? Do you want us to do profiles on some of the actors in this case? Don't forget that we have Jason Mao, Zulema, Gabe Bonilla, Hector Sosa, Melanie Gibb, David Warwick. There are a whole host of sideline players
who I feel like they need character sheets.
We do need a character sheet, but there are a whole host of side players that are likely involved to some degree. At least they were, right?
Yeah.
So do you want us to kind of explore them a little bit more, do profiles on them, or would you like us to start doing some additional cases outside of Lori Vallow? We want to hear from you. So again, you can tweet us at We Saw the Devil. We are We Saw the Devil on Facebook. We are We Saw the Devil podcast on Instagram. And We Saw the Devil at gmail.com via email.
Also, be sure to stop by and check out our Patreon. I'm trying to set up a virtual run right now. And if anybody has any information on how to do that, logistically, without paying thousands of dollars to have someone help you do that, I would like to do it for a charity with all of you. I am willing to run a $25,000 for a charity of your guys' choice. So please send us an email. And if you are part of Patreon, please respond to me.
Guys, please respond to her and let her know.
I'm so sad and alone.
Yeah. But again, our Patreon is patreon.com/We Saw the Devil. And I think you guys get the point at this point, but we have some pretty cool
perks, bennies. Yeah. Oh, and don't forget about the Patreon only episode. This coming month is a case that is close to my heart and close to home.
Just a little spoiler on that. Jackie knows someone who was horrifically murdered.
No, that's like telling everyone everything. You're not allowed to say that. Shh, Robin, can it?
That's going to be our case of the month for July. And for our patrons who receive postcards, you will be receiving those shortly.
Until next crime.